Now, I'm sure the title gives it away, but if it wasn't clear enough, today we will be discussing the latest protagonist in the Mafia franchise, Enzo. Now, Enzo will be the main character in Mafia the Old Country, which will be an upcoming game published by 2K Games and created by Hunger 13. Now, this game is slated for a summer 2025 release date, and honestly, I for one can't wait for the game. I've seen a lot of people who aren't even really Mafia fans and they've really been enticed by the trailer. So it's safe to say I'm not the only one excited about Enzo's journey in this game. If my thumbnail wasn't obvious enough, Enzo comes from an Italian background. Now, if one of the Wikipedia pages about Mafia is to be believed, Enzo was born in 1883 and he could be around 20-25 when we start the game. I don't know how accurate that information is, but that's what the Mafia Wikipedia page says, so hopefully they're correct. And hopefully I'm giving you the right information about that. So now, like I said, Enzo will be Italian, how Tommy Angelo was in Mafia 1 and how Vito Scaletta was in Mafia 2. That's a contrast to Mafia 3, where we had Lincoln Clay, who was representing the black mob. Now, a big criticism about Mafia 3 was, apart from the mission structure, that Lincoln Clay wasn't a full Italian mafioso. That's a big complaint, fans. Well, not a big complaint, but it was a bit of a complaint that people would throw about, that it didn't feel like a true Mafia game because Lincoln wasn't fully Italian. I say not fully Italian because it is kind of mentioned by Father James that he could be half Italian. Anyway, like I've said, Lincoln Clay wasn't fully Italian and that was a bit of a controversy. A lot of people not a lot of people, sorry, I keep saying a lot of people. People did kind of bash Mafia 3 for saying, oh, Lincoln Clay's not fully Italian. And they seem to have corrected that mistake. Well, not mistake per se, but kind of taken it back to the original roots. Now, there's not a lot out there about Enzo, but a few days ago, Hunger 13, who make the Mafia games, well, some of the recent Mafia games, they did an interview with IGN. And in that interview, they spoke about gameplay and a variety of different things, but they also gave quite a bit of information about Enzo's background. And now I'll start reading some of that article. So the interview starts by IGN asking, can you tell us a bit about Enzo? And then Alex, the game developer at Hunger 13, replies, yeah, sure. The trailer's themed around Enzo's initiation into the family. He's being initiated into the Teresi crime family. The Don, the guy that's cutting his lips, the crime boss. And he's the guy who Enzo answers to in the game. Enzo starts in a very humble way. He starts his story in the Sicilian sulfur mines. They were a hidden history, I suppose, to some extent for people, but there was this sulfur mining in particular using very young children. Corisio, they were known as, were a feature in the 19th century and in the early 20th century in Sicily. There's a lot of people involved there, so that's Enzo's backstory. He grows up effectively in this very harsh and uncaring environment, and then he escapes from that early in our story and then finds his way into the mafias in ways that will be revealed. They say ways that will be revealed, but I think they're talking about this scene, when it seems like Don Torresi comes to the rescue of Enzo. Nevertheless, let's go back to reading what Alex has to say. That's when people get to play the game. That's Enzo, and he obviously comes from a very humble background. So the Mafia offers him an opportunity to make something of himself, earn some status or respect. He's come from the really lowest of Sicilian society at the beginning of the story. He's really determined to do anything it takes to get something for himself and make something of himself. After Alex, one of the developers at Hunger 13, was done with his part of the interview, the main man behind Hunger 13, the CEO of Hunger 13, who goes by the name of Nick Baines, he went on to say, I think he's going to be a real big fan favourite. He's got a very unique backstory compared to the other protagonists in the Mafia stories. Enzo is some kid who's been very deprived in his childhood. He's literally had no family at all. Kind of seems familiar to Lincoln Clay in some parts. His backstory, that is. Anyway, Nick goes on to say, he's literally had no family at all and he stumbles across the family, which would be the Mafia family. So it is a very interesting journey as a player watching him experience this and going through that with him. It's quite a familiar but fresh take on the rags to riches mob movie story. Now, something that's going to be fascinating to see is the dynamic between Enzo and his boss, the Don Torresi. Now, in Mafia 1, the relationship between Tommy and Salieri was started off okay and then it got fractured towards the middle. And then the end, everything hit the fan and Tommy pretty much sent Salieri to jail. Now, we don't know if Mafia the Old Country is going to be anything like that. We don't even know if they'll have a falling out. But just seeing the dynamic between Enzo and Don Torresi will be a sight to behold. Something else that I saw in the trailer was this woman. Now, she looks to be the love interest of Enzo in this game. Now, my theory is that she could be the daughter of the Don. I don't know, I feel like I saw that in a comment somewhere too on one of the trailers. But yeah, that's certainly a possibility. She could be the daughter of the Don. And add this woman onto that dynamic between the Don and Enzo. You've got a hell of a story there. Now, she might be like Sarah, where she kind of, changed some Enzo's point of view. It might make him want to get out of the Mafia life. In the coming months before release, hopefully we see a bit more insight into the relationship between Enzo and all these characters. Of course, I don't want everything to get spoiled, but a bit more teasers and stuff. We can't go wrong with that. Now, the actor for Enzo, he's been confirmed. He's officially been confirmed. He even went on his Instagram page and announced it pretty much. Now, this actor's name is Riccardo Frascari. I feel like I just butchered that name. Excuse me, I've never heard that second name before in my life. I've watched a lot of Italian football, but I've never really heard that name. So yeah, I wish Riccardo the best of luck. I wish Hunger 13 the best of luck. Hopefully it's a hell of a game because I'm a big Mafia fan. And we big Mafia fans have been waiting a long time for a great Mafia game. It's been 4 years since the remake came out. And even longer since Mafia 3 came out. So hopefully we just see a great Mafia game. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Leave a comment below. Let me know how you feel about Enzo. Are you excited? Are you not? If not, then